On March 20th, 2003, a coalition launched a surprise attack on Iraq, beginning a mission called Operation Iraqi Freedom. The goal? Overthrow Saddam Hussein, the genocidal dictator of Iraq, and identify and eliminate the country's developing nuclear weapons facilities. American Special Forces launched an attack on a bunker near the Iraqi capital where Hussein was thought to be hiding. Baghdad fell, but Hussein slipped away. The U.S. military successfully carried out strikes on critical targets in Tarmiya and Jasir Diyala, eliminating Iraq's two most valuable nuclear plants, but Hussein remained at large. For nearly a year, U.S. Special Forces trailed what was essentially a ghost, carrying out a dozen unsuccessful raids and hundreds of interviews, but ultimately coming up empty-handed. The events that follow are a part of what is known as Operation Red Dawn, a top-secret military operation with the goal of locating and capturing or killing Saddam Hussein. Saddam Hussein became involved in politics early in his life, developing an interest in more radical ideals. In 1959, Hussein was a part of a failed coup with the goal of deposing the sitting prime minister and establishing an Arab nationalist government. Hussein was exiled to Syria before moving to Cairo to study law. In 1968, he traveled back to Iraq, where he and other members of the Ba'ath Party staged another coup. This time, however, the operation was successful. Hussein quickly rose and in 1979 assumed the role of Prime Minister of Iraq. Between 1980 and 2003, Hussein started wars with Iran and Kuwait and employed chemical weapons against innocent Kurdish Iraqi civilians in a genocidal campaign known as the Gassing of the Kurds. In 1990, a UN-commissioned investigation found evidence that Iraq was developing and stockpiling weapons of mass destruction. Iraq was asked to end its nuclear programs, but Hussein expelled all UN weapons inspectors. In 2002, evidence emerged suggesting that Iraq had been purchasing an item called aluminum tubes. These tubes are used in the enrichment of uranium and are a critical element of developing nuclear weapons. Hussein continued to obstruct inspections and refused to comply with disarmament regulations, all of which eventually resulted in the 2003 invasion of Iraq. By mid-2003, all of Hussein's allies had been pushed out of Baghdad into his hometown of Tikrit. Here, loyalists sheltered with Tikriti tribes while staging ambushes on coalition forces, and U.S. intelligence suspected Hussein to be among them. In mid-April, the coalition army, led by the United States, carried out an offensive on Tikrit, and on the 14th, Tikrit fell. By the end of the battle, Hussein was nowhere to be found. In the following months, Special Ops agents worked through dozens of witness testimonies and interrogations of people close to Hussein. But by December of 2003, they had seemed to reach a dead end. However, one person of interest provided valuable intelligence. A 9-year-old Iraqi boy who lived in Tikrit led the investigation to a man named Mohammed Ibrahim Omar al-Muslit. Mohammed Ibrahim was Hussein's top advisor, and one of only a few individuals with close ties to the former president that remained on the run. Special Ops conducted several interviews with Hussein's former driver, and acting on his advice, conducted a raid on a rental house in Samarra, a town between Baghdad and Tikrit. They failed to find Mohammed Ibrahim, but a search of the property turned up nearly $2 million in cash, as well as Ibrahim's son. According to intel provided by the son, his father spent a lot of time at a fish farm nearby the city. Special ops agents traced calls from this fish farm to a safe house in the outskirts of Baghdad, with links to Hussein, where they found 4 men, and among them was Mohammed Ibrahim. On December 12, 2003, Special Ops interrogated Ibrahim for several hours in an attempt to get closer to Saddam Hussein. Their inquiries led them to a place called Ad-Dar, a city 19 miles south of Tikrit. Mohammed Ibrahim indicated 2 likely locations within the city where Hussein could be hidden. Special Ops assigned the codenames Wolverine 1 and Wolverine 2 to these locations. The task now was not on the shoulders of intelligence agents, but on the Delta Force team to locate Hussein. At 6 p.m. local time, in the cover of darkness, a team left their base in Tikrit in a convoy bound for Ad-Dar. They swept both sites, but found nothing and proceeded to lock down the entire area. Eventually, they reached another suspected location, a small farm on the banks of the Tigris River. At 8 p.m. local time, they breached the property. They found several people on the farm, including a man who was thought to be Hussein's personal chef, but failed to find Saddam. They moved around to the back of the house and found a small hut made out of mud in the rear of the property. And just outside, they found a polystyrene manhole obstructed by leaves and bricks. At 8:36 p.m., Special Ops opened the manhole to reveal what appeared to be a tunnel. At the bottom, they saw 2 hands emerge from the darkness, followed by an unshaven and disheveled man. It was Saddam Hussein. After his capture, Hussein was taken to Camp Copper in Baghdad. On October 19, 2005, Saddam Hussein was tried for crimes against humanity. He was convicted and subsequently sentenced to death.